bearing a bowl of lather on which a mirror and a razor lay crossed. A yellow dressing gown, ungirdled, was sustained gently behind him by the mild morning air. He held the bowl aloft and intoned, "In Troy ad altari Dei." Halted, he peered down the dark winding stairs and called up coarsely,
"Come up, Kinch. Come up, you fearful Jesuit."
Solemnly, he came forward and mounted the round gun rest. He faced about and blessed gravely thrice the tower, the surrounding country, and the awaking mountains. Then, catching sight of Stephen Dedalus, he bent towards him and made rapid crosses in the air, gurgling in his throat and shaking his head. Stephen Dedalus, displeased and sleepy, leaned his arms on top of the staircase and looked coldly at the shaking, gurgling face that blessed him, equine in its length and at the light, untonsured hair, grained and hued like pale oak. Buck Mulligan peeped an instant under the mirror and then covered the bowl smartly.
"Back to barracks,"
he said sternly. He added in a preacher's tone,
"For this, so dearly beloved, is a genuine Christine body and soul and blood and wounds. Slow music, please. Shut your eyes, gents. One moment. A little trouble about those white corpuscles. Silence all."
He peered sideways up and gave a long, low whistle of call, then paused a while in rapt attention, his even white teeth glistening here and there with gold points.
"Chrysostomus."
Two strong, shrill whistles answered through the calm.
"Thanks, old chap,"
he cried briskly.
"That'll do nicely. Switch off the current, will you?"
He skipped off the gun rest and looked gravely at his watcher, gathering about his legs the loose folds of his gown. The plump, shadowed face and sullen oval jowl recalled a prelate, patron of the arts of the Middle Ages. A pleasant smile broke quietly over his lips.
"The mockery of it,"
he said gaily.
"Your absurd name, an ancient Greek."
He pointed his finger in friendly jest and went over to the parapet, laughing to himself. Stephen Dedalus stepped up, followed him wearily halfway, and sat down on the edge of the gun rest, watching him still as he propped his mirror on the parapet, dipped the brush in the bowl, and lathered cheeks and neck. Buck Mulligan's gay voice went on.
"My name is absurd too, Malachi Mulligan, 2 dactyls. But it has a Hellenic ring, hasn't it? Tripping and sunny like the Buck himself. We must go to Athens. Will you come, if I can get the aunt to fork out 20 quid?
He laid the brush aside and, laughing with delight, cried,
"Will he come, the Jeju Jesuit?"
Ceasing, he began to shave with care.
"Tell me, Mulligan,"
Stephen said quietly. "Yes, my love."
"How long is Haynes going to stay in this tower?"
Buck Mulligan showed a shaven cheek over his right shoulder.
"God, isn't he dreadful? A ponderous Saxon. He thinks you're not a gentleman. God, these bloody English bursting with English and indigestion. Because he comes from Oxford. You know, Dedalus, you have the real Oxford manner. He can't make you out. Oh, my name for you is the best. Kinch, the knife blade."
He shaved warily over his chin.
"He was raving all night long about a Black Panther. Where is his gun case?"
A woeful lunatic. Were you in a funk?
"I was. Out here with a man I don't know, raving and moaning to himself about shooting a Black Panther. You save men from drowning. I'm no hero, however. If he stays on here, I'm off."
Buck Mulligan frowned at the lather on his razor blade. He hopped down from his perch and began to search his trouser pockets hastily.
"Scutter!"
he cried thickly. He came over to the gun rest and, thrusting a hand into Stephen's upper pocket, said,
"Lend us a loan of your nose rag to wipe my razor."
Stephen suffered him to pull out and hold up on show, by its corner, a dirty, crumpled handkerchief. Buck Mulligan wiped the razor blade neatly. Then, gazing over the handkerchief, he said,
"The Bard's nose rag. A new art colour for our Irish poets. Snot green. You can almost taste it, can't you?"
He mounted to the parapet again and gazed out over Dublin Bay, his fair oak-pale hair stirring slightly.
God, isn't the sea what Algie calls it? A grey sweet mother. The snot-green sea. The scrotum-tightening sea. Epionoipaponta, Dedalus. The Greeks, I must teach you. You must read them in the original. Thalata, Thalata. She is our great sweet mother. Come and look.
Stephen stood up and went over to the parapet. Leaning on it, he looked down on the water and on the mailboat clearing the harbour mouth of Kingstown.
Our mighty mother.
Buck Mulligan said. He turned abruptly, his great searching eyes from the sea to Stephen's face.
The aunt thinks you killed your mother. That's why she won't let me have anything to do with you.
Someone killed her.
You could have knelt down, damn it, Kinch, when your dying mother asked you. I'm as Hyperborean as you, but to think of your mother begging you with her last breath to kneel down and pray for her, and you refused. There is something sinister in you.
He broke off and lathered again lightly his farther cheek. A tolerant smile curled his lips.
But a lovely mummer,
He murmured to himself.
Kinch, the loveliest mummer of them all.
He shaved evenly and with care, in silence, seriously. Stephen, an elbow rested on the jagged granite, leaned his palm against his brow and gazed at the fraying edge of the shiny black coat sleeve. Pain that was not yet the pain of love fretted his heart. Silently in a dream she had come to him after her death, her wasted body within its loose brown grave clothes, giving off an odor of wax and rosewood. Her breath that had bent upon him, mute, reproachful, a faint odor of wetted ashes. Across the threadbare cot's edge, he saw the sea hailed as a great sweet mother by the well-fed voice beside him. The ring of bay and skyline held a dull green mass of liquid. A bowl of white china had stood beside her deathbed, holding the green sluggish bile, which she had torn up from her rotting liver by fits of loud groaning, vomiting. Buck Mulligan wiped again his razor blade.
Ah, poor dog's body,
He said in a kind voice.
I must give you a shirt and a few nose rags. How are the second-hand breeks?
They fit well enough.
Buck Mulligan attacked the hollow beneath his underlip.
The mockery of it.
He said contentedly.
Second leg they should be. God knows what poxy bowsy left them off. I have a lovely pair with a hair striped grey. You look spiffing in them. I'm not joking, Kinch. You look damn well when you're dressed.
Thanks. I can't wear them if they're grey.
You can't wear them.
Buck Mulligan told his face in the mirror.
Etiquette is etiquette. He kills his mother, but he can't wear grey trousers.
He folded his razor neatly and with stroking palps of fingers felt the smooth skin. Stephen turned his gaze from the sea to the plump face with his smoke-blue, mobile eyes.
The fellow I was with on the ship last night says you have GPI. He's up in Dotyville with Connolly Norman. General paralysis of the insane.
He swept the mirror in a half circle in the air to flash the tidings abroad in sunlight, now radiant on the sea. His curling, shaven lips laughed, and the edges of his white, glittering teeth. Laughter seized all his strong, well-knit trunk.
Look at yourself, you dreadful bard.
Stephen bent forward and peered at the mirror held out to him, cleft by a crooked crack, hair on end.
And he and others see me. Who chose this face for me? This dog's body to rid of vermin. It asks me too.
I pinched it out of the skivvy's room. It does her all right. The aunt always keeps plain-looking servants for Malachi. Lead him not into temptation. And her name is Ursula.
Laughing again, he brought the mirror away from Stephen's peering eyes.
The rage of Caliban at not seeing his face in the mirror, if Wilde were only alive to see you.
Drawing back and pointing, Stephen said with bitterness.
It's been a symbol of Irish art. The crooked, cracked looking glass of a servant.
Buck Mulligan suddenly linked his arm to Stephen's and walked with him round the tower, his razor and mirror clacking in the pocket where he had thrust them.
It's not fair to tease you like that, Kinch.
He said kindly.
God knows you have more spirit than any of